Raider Nation, gather around because we've got something big to talk about. Imagine this. The 2025 NFL Draft is done and dusted. Pete Carroll and John Spytek didn't just stop at selecting 11 fresh faces. They also brought in 16 undrafted free agents. That brings the total roster to 91 players. Now you might be thinking, wait, aren't teams usually allowed only 90? Good catch. But thanks to international pathway player David Ago, the Raiders get one extra spot. So here's the deal. If the Silver and Black want to add anyone new from this list I'm about to show you, someone's got to go. Why even consider new signings? Two reasons. One, the Raiders still have a massive $42.4 million in cap space. Two, we still have a few gaps in this roster that could use serious attention. Personally, I'd love to use some of that money to lock down Colton Miller and Jacoby Myers with long-term deals. But we could also patch up a few key positions. And that's where today's show comes in. Let's talk about team needs. Right now, the biggest hole in this Raiders roster? I'd say it's free safety. Though linebacker is right up there too. Honestly, it's a 1A/1B situation. Look, I like Isaiah Polamau. I like Jeremy Chin too. But here's the truth. Both are better around the line of scrimmage. They're physical. They hit hard. But I'm not sure we have that true center field type safety who can patrol deep and make plays on the ball. So here's a name to keep your eye on. Justin Simmons. Yeah, he's 31. But don't let that number scare you. He's started 31 games over the past 2 seasons, racking up at least 60 tackles and 2 picks every year since 2017. He's primarily a free safety, but he's versatile. He can drop into the box, slide into the slot, and make things happen. Some fans are worried about age, I get it. But if the Raiders' defensive line turns out to be as dominant as I think it will be, adding Simmons on a 1-year prove-it deal might just be the smartest move we could make. All right, Raider Nation, let's keep this free agency conversation rolling. Now, if I had to choose a name that really excites me, it might just be Julian Blackmon, the safety from the Colts. He's only 27, and here's what stands out. He's played 62 games in 5 seasons, and more impressively, he's gotten better every single year. Seriously, I love players who grow season after season, and Blackmon fits that mold perfectly. Over the past 2 years, he's snagged 7 interceptions, totaled 174 tackles, and posted a solid coverage grade, 72.6 in 2023 and 73.5 in 2024, according to PFF. That's the kind of coverage safety the Raiders need, someone who can roam the field and make plays. Not just a thumper in the box, but a guy who can actually cover receivers deep. Now, another name to keep an eye on, Jordan Whitehead. He's 28 and brings a ton of experience, 101 career games, and even has a Super Bowl ring from his time with Tom Brady and John Spytek back in Tampa. He's played mostly as a free safety, but he's also lined up in the slot and the box. That kind of versatility, it matters, especially in Patrick Graham's defense. Relationships also count for a lot in the NFL, and Whitehead's connection to Spytek could make him a more realistic target than people think. Next up, Quandre Diggs. Yes, he's 32, and yes, he only played 8 games in 2024, but don't count him out. He's a seasoned vet with 145 career games and 3 straight Pro Bowl selections from 2020 to 2022 under Pete Carroll in Seattle. When I think of Diggs, I picture him making plays in that Seahawks secondary. And honestly, I think he still has something left in the tank. His PFF grades back it up. 73.2 overall with a 70.6 coverage grade and a 70.0 run defense grade. Most importantly, he knows Pete Carroll's system inside and out, and that makes him a strong culture fit for this team. One more name before we switch gears, Marcus Williams. Look, I'll be honest. He struggled last year in Baltimore, and yes, when he came out of the lineup, the Ravens' defense actually improved. But let's not forget, from 2017 to 2023, Williams was a consistent force with the Saints. If you're looking for a cheap, low-risk signing who might bounce back, he could be that guy. Maybe a 1-year, $1.2 million prove-it deal gives him a shot to revive his career, but just like we're trying to do with Devin White. All right, here's a quick question for you while the YouTube ad runs. If you could sign one free agent after the draft, who are you picking? Let me know in the comments below. As for me, I'd lean toward Julian Blackman. He's young, he's reliable, and he keeps improving. The kind of player you can build a defense around. Now, let's shift focus. Because while free safety is a priority, there's another big need that Raider Nation is buzzing about: linebacker. Let's talk linebackers. Because outside of Roberts and Devin White, the Raiders still have a lot of question marks. You've got young and unproven names like Amari Burney, Amari Gaynor, Tommy Eichenberg, and Cody Lindenberg, who was just taken in the seventh round. Maybe the plan is to pair Lindenberg with Eland and Roberts, but to me, the Raiders still need a solid coverage linebacker. One name that stands out: Kaiser White. Yes, he had a down year in 2023, but he's only 29 and started all 17 games. He brings versatility. He lined up in the slot 52 times last season. That might not sound like a lot, but it shows he can do more than just play in the box. Over the past 4 seasons, he's racked up 481 tackles, averaging 120 per year. And he knows the AFC West well from his time with the Chargers. Another option is Jawan Bentley. He's a solid coverage linebacker who played with Tom Brady in 2018 and 2019. From 2021 to 2023, he notched 100 plus tackles each year. Unfortunately, he tore his PCL in week 2 last year and missed 15 games. I know the Raiders were interested in Christian Ellis and were really hoping to sign him. Since they missed out, Bentley might be their fallback. That said, I'll be honest, I'm not overly excited about either Kaiser White or Jawan Bentley. And the other name I'll throw out there is Chaz Surratt. He's still unproven, and maybe they give him a shot. Maybe they don't. But it wouldn't shock me if the Raiders just stuck with what they've got and hoped someone steps up. If there's one name I do think could surprise people this season, it's Amari Gaynor. Keep an eye on him. Now, let's make a deal. If this video gets 100 new subscribers, and any player I mentioned in this video signs with the Raiders, I'll go live. May, June, and July can be slow, but those under-the-radar signings, they hit. So subscribe and turn on notifications. You won't want to miss it. Next up, let's talk nickel corner. Jacorian Bennett is pictured here, but he's more of an outside corner. Right now, I'd say the Raiders' starting nickel is probably Darnay Holmes. I feel better about our outside guys, but I'm not sure if Jacorian fits on the inside after how well he played outside last year. Cameron Richardson, Eric Stokes, and Darius Phillips, all outside guys too. So who's the top free agent nickel? That would be Mike Hilton. He's 31, but still playing at a high level. 4 straight seasons with a PFF grade above 70. He's got 123 career games, 56 starts, 23 of them just in the last 2 seasons. And during that stretch in Cincinnati, he posted 157 tackles, 13 pass breakups, 3 picks, 24 tackles for loss, and 2 sacks. He's experienced, versatile, and a good fit for this young Raiders cornerback room. If the Raiders want a veteran presence, Hilton makes a lot of sense. Another name to watch? Troy Hill. He's shifted more and more into the slot role as he's gotten older, and he spent last season with the Buccaneers. Troy Hill didn't see the field much last year, just 2 games, but in total, he played 8 games and lined up in the slot 202 times. His 2024 PFF grade? A modest 63.2 overall, but a solid 70.6 in coverage. Now, here's why he matters. The Buccaneers regime, led by John Spytek, signed him. That tells me there's at least some value seen in him, and enough reason to bring his name into this conversation. Next, let's talk about a cornerback who isn't a nickel guy, but his name always comes up: Asante Samuel Jr. Most people would probably say he's the top cornerback still available in free agency. But let's be real, he's not a nickel. He's spent 99% of his career playing on the outside. Sure, like most corners, he's had a few reps inside, but that's not his game. If the Raiders signed him and tried to turn him into a nickel, I'm not so sure that would work, but I'll say this: if I didn't mention him, I'd definitely hear about it in the comments. So again, the top 2 true nickel corners I'd keep an eye on are Mike Hilton and Troy Hill. When I really broke it down, the Raiders' top 3 roster needs are clear: free safety, linebacker, and nickel corner. That's it. Now, could they still go get a veteran wide receiver? Maybe. This WR room is super young outside of Jacoby Myers. And I know Keenan Allen's name has come up a few times. The connection with WR coach Chris Body, who worked with him from 2021 to 2024, is real. Plus, Keenan's a lifelong Raiders fan. He started at least 10 games every season since 2017. And yeah, he's had injury issues here and there, but he's a vet who knows how to produce. If the Raiders bring in a wideout, Keenan Allen is absolutely a name to watch. He didn't get many chances to play last season, only 2 games. But overall, he appeared in 8 games and played 202 snaps in the slot. His PFF grade in 2024? A solid 63.2 overall and an impressive 70.6 in coverage. Now, the Buccaneers, led by John Spytek, decided to sign him. That tells me there's at least some connection there. And because of that, he deserves a spot in this conversation. Let's move to another name. He's not a nickel corner, but he's probably the top cornerback still available, Asante Samuel Jr. Here's the deal. He's played almost entirely on the outside during his career, 99% of the time. Sure, he's stepped into the slot now and then, like most corners do, but asking him to suddenly become a nickel corner? That's a stretch. It might help him get paid more, but is it really his best position? Still, I had to mention him. If I didn't, I know y'all would come after me in the comments. The real nickel guys to focus on? Mike Hilton and Troy Pride. Those are the top two. Let's talk wide receivers. If the Raiders do go after a veteran receiver to help out Geno Smith, the name to watch is Keenan Allen. But if they do sign him, that's bad news for Trey Tucker, who's probably already confused after the Raiders drafted 3 new receivers. Now, I'm not saying this next guy is a target, but fans keep asking. Amari Cooper. Could the Raiders sign him? Maybe. But if you ask me, it's a pass. If I were sitting with Pete Carroll and John Spytek, and they looked at me and asked, sign or pass? I'm saying pass. Now let's wrap things up with a few team builders. These aren't necessarily needs, but they're guys who can help the locker room and bring that winning mindset. First up, John Jenkins. Yeah, he's 35, but he's still better than some of the young guys like Matthew Butler and Nephi Sewell. Jenkins can play, and he brings leadership. Next, Amir Abdullah. Surprised? Don't be. He was a beast at the end of last season. Sure, we've got Janty and Raheem Mostert, but do you trust Dylan Lauba or Sincere McCormick? I'd rather hand the ball to Abdullah any day. He's 30, loves being a Raider, and costs next to nothing. Just $1.22 million. Final name, Shaq Barrett. Won a Super Bowl with Tom Brady. Has history with John Spytek. The Raiders have shown a lot of interest in edge rushers. So why not bring in a proven vet instead of keeping someone like Charles Snowden? If you're signing Devin White, then bringing in Barrett makes just as much sense.